sorry to be delayed, but last evening down in Lover's Lane she strayed. Madam, Miss Otis regrets she's unable to lunch today. When she woke up and found that her dream of love was gone, Madam, she ran to the man who led her so far astray. And from under her velvet gown, she drew a gun and shot her lover down. Madam, Miss Otis regrets she's unable to lunch today. When the mob came and got her and dragged her from the jail, Madam, they strung her to the willow across the way. And the moment before she died, she lifted up her lovely head and cried. Madam, Miss Otis regrets she's unable to lunch today. Miss Otis regrets she's unable to lunch today.
And hello, everybody. Welcome once again to another edition of the Devil's Hour. My name is Geoff with a G, and for the next, hour or so, we'll be showcasing the weird, the wild, and the wonderful, all for you. How's everybody doing? Doing good? Cheers. Today, this show is actually the 100th episode of me doing these. I've been doing it for almost 2 years. In fact, we're a couple weeks away from 2 years. So I was trying to figure out which one to celebrate with more. Was 2 years doing it or 100 episodes? So we're going to kind of combine a little bit of the two because who knows when you see this thing after all. Now, I know what you're saying, Geoff, but I don't see 100 episodes on the channel right here, Carney Show. Make sure you like and subscribe. True. I used to do it over on Twitch and then brought it over here almost exclusively because timeline-wise, worked out better for me just to record and play later. So that's how it is. Problem is that some of the way the rights go on some of the acts, like the music specifically, playing live, cool. Playing recorded, not cool. And sometimes playing recorded, not cool. Or, playing recorded, cool. Playing live, not cool. It just got really confusing. So a lot of that stuff I can't bring over just because of that. In fact, I got dinged for a thing that was already on here on the channel, so I have to re-edit around that. At some point I will. I don't know. Anyways, you know what time it is, right? That's right, some Fox News. And I'm going to do this live because I can. I want to make that picture bigger. There we go. Let's see the weird, dumb jokes I'm going to have on the screen. speaking of dumb jokes, let's start with Geoff Younger, and that's with a J, I might add. This dude is currently running for a seat in the Texas House of Representatives. Yeah. Anyways, he got booed out of a speech that he prepared for the University of North Texas. Why? Well, for one, he's an anti-trans candidate who is really pushing for the full illegality of helping kids realize who they are. And two, he also refused to acknowledge his own transgender daughter's identity, whom he lost custody back in 2019. Fucking douchebag. Normally, I'd have a funny quip about said asshole, but I think the students from my alma mater, UNT, had this to say. Fascists! Fuck these 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 fascists! Yeah. Speaking of fascism, of course I'm going to talk about the war. The Russian embassy in South Africa posted a tweet thanking South Africans for supporting Russia as it fights against the Nazism, quote-unquote Nazism, of the Ukraine. In fact, here is the fun tweet, which says, "Dear subscribers, we have received a great number of letters of solidarity from South Africans, both individuals and organizations. We appreciate support and glad you decided to stand with us today when Russia, like 80 years ago, is fighting Nazism in the Ukraine." You know, the Ukraine that has a Jewish prime minister. Well, the German embassy of South Africa had this in response. "Sorry, but we can't stand silent on this one. It's far too cynical. What Russia is doing in the Ukraine is slaughtering innocent children, women, and men for its own gain. It's definitely not fighting Nazism. Shame on anyone who is falling for this." Quote, open parentheses, "Sadly, we kind of are experts on Nazism." That's what we call an Einverbringen. Einverbringen, which just means a burn in German. Dumb jokes. Anyways, good news, people. Chris Galera, a Brazilian Playboy model, I might add, is getting divorced. I know it's sad, but just in time for Carnival, because you're from Brazil and whatnot. But don't be mad at the soon-to-be ex. Soon-to-be ex being Chris Galera. Yeah, that's right. Galera married herself last year because of the disappointment in single life. Yeah, this is true. But to truly party in Carnival, the only way to really party is to be a single lady. So, cue the generic music that only kind of resembles that famous song about single ladies, but not really, so that way we don't get sued. But anyways, put your hands up. And there's always this. You're welcome. Anyways, we got a great show today. I'm gonna turn that off because we don't need that anyway. Uh, we got a great show today. We got the great band SINE. We've got the band Twin Temple. And some weirdo by the name of Geoff with the G doing some dumb stuff as well because it's 100th episode. So stick around, tune in, and we'll be right back. How's everybody doing? We doing okay? Good. I'm glad. Let's get started with our first guest, shall we? So our first performer is this really cool, amazingly industrial group out of Austin, Texas, by the name of SINE. Spearheaded by the amazingly talented Rona Rougeheart, she brings depth and heart, all with a hypnotic beat. It's really cool. I've seen the band a few times. It's one of my favorite bands out of Austin. I always make a chance to try to see it. Hopefully they'll make their way up here, so I can check it out now. I believe this is the 4th time I've showcased their stuff on the network, on the Devil's Hour. I mean, it's 2 years. This will be bleed over, especially bands I like, because it's my show. I can like what I like. But they just released a brand new single. Where's my thing? Boom. Called Attack, this is actually a remix by the amazingly talented Adrian Sherwood. If you don't know who Adrian Sherwood, amazing producer of a lot of really cool stuff that you probably wouldn't know that you loved. Anyways, let's check it out. Attack, SINE, go. SINE, everybody. Wasn't that fun? Really good track. I really dig them a lot. Go to their Bandcamp, pick up all their stuff. I even have a piece of art done by Rona, which I still have over there. Uh, eh. So, anyways, as you guys know, I like to showcase the weird, the wild, the wonderful right here on the channel with you guys every week. And one of the things I like showcasing is the 48-hour film festival stuff because a lot of those films are pretty cool. I love the concept of it, which is you have 48 hours to make a film. Here's a genre, here's a prop you have to use, etc., etc. And a lot of it turns out to really, really good and allows people to get enough play for their stuff and getting showcased. So I'm going to do that again here today. So check this out.
What?
Can I get for you? The Stone Creek Burger, medium rare with cheddar, fries in
No, don't get up. Okay. Okay. Oh.
Well, look at you.
Oh, no, what?
Oh, nothing. I just, you're even more beautiful than in your pictures.
You too, Sam. You are beautiful. Manly beautiful. Manly beautiful.
Manly beautiful.
That sounds like one of the ladies from Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
It's a TV show from the 90s. It's the lady wrestlers. Little Fiji, Matilda the Hun, Dementia. No.
Never seen that before. Oh, I remember from your profile that you like champagne.
Here you go.
Oh, that's wonderful. Oh! Don't get up. I know. I'm even prettier than in my pictures. No.
I'm head of accounts at my father's business. We're the largest repo company in the city.
Oh, wow, you don't look like a repo man type.
There you go.
You remembered I like champagne. That's so sweet.
I handle the books. It's like super sad. Sometimes I wind up talking to the crying people on the phone. I get some good stuff from my poetry, though.
You're a poet? I love poetry. Wait, Dungle Street repo?
It's us. Oh, we didn't repossess your car, did we?
I mean, you did, but you didn't.
What do you mean?
I mean, you did, and then zap, you didn't.
I still don't follow.
I know, because I'm acting like a crazy person. This is going horribly wrong. You were very cute, but your last name is ridiculous. Good night.
I'm head of accounts for my father's business. We're the largest repo company in the city. What do you do?
I'm a scientist.
Oh, well then all those nights watching Star Trek must have helped you out.
Wait, did I tell you that?
Yeah, you told me you used to watch it before Glorious Ladies of Wrestling.
Gorgeous. I need to start taking notes.
So, are you Team Picard or Team Riker?
Kidding me? Jean-Luc Picard is responsible for my first 30 or 40 orgasms. This is not my best round. I gotta go. Bye.
I handle the books. It's like super sad. Sometimes I wind up talking to the crying people on the phone. Kathy? Kathy.
Get it together, Kathy. Hi. No need to stand up, no need to take your hat off. I can tell you want to take your hat off. You can take your hat off, Sam. Hi, Kathy, scientist. You think I look better in person than my pictures online, which is really nice. You remember that I like champagne? And my glass is about to get here in 3, 2, 1.
Here you go.
Boom, thank you.
Okay.
You are a repo man with the soul of a poet. You actually read me a poem that you wrote about your dad, which was actually really, really beautiful.
how do you
I
know
know you've only known me for a few minutes, but I've known you for like a while. See, I have discovered a frequency that can take me back in time by just like a few minutes. But someday it's gonna be strong enough to take me back by like days, weeks, months. Sky's the limit.
Wow.
Oh my God, I'm freaking you out. I'm totally freaking you out. I don't want to freak you out. It's just, you're like a really nice guy. Probably the nicest guy I've met in a really long time. And I don't want this bullshit to screw anything up because I really...
Maybe I'm looking to be freaked out a little. Walk me through it.
Do you want to take a walk?
You're not gonna murder me, are you?
No, not on the first day. Thank you. I'll get this one.
Celebrating old timer.
It's my anniversary.
Oh, it's nice. Where's your wife?
She's outside. You know, once a year, I come back to the place where we first met. Cheers, young man.
Hi, Boobdini here. Are you bored in the house and in the house bored? Well, we have the answer for you. It's the brand new burlesque deck. It will help you play with yourself while you're home alone.
Solitaire has never been this sexy. Ooh, Miss Orchid May goes right on top of Simone Del Mar.
Bored playing with yourself? Play with others.
Zoom has never been this much fun.
2, 3, war! War! Ooh, I have a scene now just slightly by Simone Del Mar. Yay! Hanky-panky. Not only do you get these 52 amazing playing cards, but we've included this, a cheat sheet of who the 26 performers are. Buy yourself a deck today. Cure the boredom at burlesquedeck.com.
Wasn't an adorable film. I dug it a lot. So yeah, so I like watching those films just because you get to see something nice and sweet. So I really enjoyed it a lot. I'm also a romantic at heart, believe it or not. Don't let the weird death's head moth fool you, and the weird sideshow shit behind me, and the dog. Anyways, how we doing? We doing okay? I hope so. So our next guest. So normally I'm not the type of guy who really hypes myself up well. I reserve that case to hype other people up because that's when it works. So that's how it always works. But I figured because it's the 100th episode, woo! I like to show you guys some stuff that I do. So here's my fun picture right there. You can follow me on Instagram. This is my personal Instagram versus the show Instagram. You can follow both, all of it. So what I'm going to showcase you is I'm going to showcase you a video of an act. You see that board right there. It's going to involve that board of one of my favorite acts that I like to perform. I essentially like to call it like it's the first the trick I really created. It's mine. Nobody else does this thing that I'm aware of. So I showcased it. I actually did it the last live Devil's Hour because I wanted a video for it. And the nice and wonderfully, amazingly talented Keita St. Cyr, who's a really, really good friend of mine. She's the person who basically convinced me badgered me, whatever you want to call it, to New York City. Love you, Keita. So it's only fair that she gets to showcase that sort of stuff. So anyways, here we go. Geoff with the G, the rat trap trick.
A lot of people watched me set these, so it's legit. In fact, even Alaska made a point on their Instagram to show me setting it up. All of these traps are live except for one. Here's the trick. What I'm going to do is I'm going to blindfold myself, and I'm going to try to guide you with my hands.
You motherfucker.
So I'm going to guide you with my hands.
Can I just get the staple gun?
No, wait. You're going to take my hand, you're going to guide me to the thing. And once we know where it's at, I'm going to take the blindfold off, and wherever my hand lays, I'm going to put my hand down.
Okay, got you.
So, once again, the only danger is me.
Alright.
Okay?
Alright.
Alright, so
I'll do it too. I like pain. I'm in anal.
Once again, we learned a lot about people today. So I'm going to just get my nice fun blindfold so I can't see anything. It's a nice sleep mask. I do it a lot because, bright lights and whatnot, and dogs weird. So I'm going to take my hands, and literally, you're going to take my hand now. Just go like this. So what's going to happen is I'm going to tell you to guide you like this way. You're going to basically, I'm going to tell you right, left, all that sort of stuff. And then that's how it's going to work. And we're going to land wherever that card is, and that's where we're going to is. I'm going to take the blindfold off so that way I put my hand on it properly, so that way I might get hurt, but I don't want to get hurt.
Gotcha.
I'm a controlled hurt.
It's that one.
No, it's not. So, all right. So what I want you to put my hand over any red card you want. Any red card you want. All right? We there?
Yep.
All right. Okay, so what I want to do is I want you to do left, right to the first black card.
Left is the first black card.
Left or right, whichever one. It doesn't matter to me.
That
So
was,
we were at? We're at the black
that was
card?
the first black card.
Okay, cool.
Now, you are left, right? Yeah. Just checking. That's the first black card.
Cool. From there, I'm gonna die. All right, so we're gonna do up down to the first red card. All right. Now from there, we're gonna go diagonally, and however the card's at. So we're gonna go diagonally, however it is, a nice X to the first black card. All right. Okay, I think we're almost there. All right, from there, it's kind of phasey. What I want you to do is it's either going to be down or it's either down or to right to the right of the first red card.
The first red card?
Yeah, either it's going down one or it's
There's red cards up and down.
No, the first closest one.
Yeah, up and down.
No, down and to the right. Or to the
down
right.
and to the right?
Yeah, either down or to the right.
Down.
All right, ready? All right.
Okay,
all right, I think we're there. I'm going to leave my hand there.
I'm the worst guy right now.
Okay, all right, cool. Just put your hand, let go of your hand. Let go of my hand. All right,
I got cognitive dissonance.
All right, so right there. So the Queen of Diamonds. We tracked this. So I'm making sure I'm not going to like that. So that way I can see everybody. That way I can see you guys see my pain properly. So the Queen of Diamonds. So we could have gone anywhere as everybody saw, because do anything like that. So Queen of Diamonds. No, eye contact.
Oh God.
Anyways, I was saying. There we go.
Yay! Hey, wonderful. Not hit any of the other ones.
It's not real. I'm not gonna fuck with you.
I've got that freedom, man. lyrics, hey, I never claimed to be profound. Show me that tatted sleeve. You gotta thrill me or inspire me. Tell me how you're writing them down. Let's go down to New Orleans. Voodoo, put a spell on me. You do, make the picture scream. Try to get the image out that you can see.
Sideshow Hootenanny in New Orleans! Yes!
And we're back. So yeah, what do you guys think? Do you guys like that a lot? So yeah, that's my favorite trick to do. It's one of the first major trick I ever built. It started first with mouse traps, and I made it bigger with rat traps. Interesting fact about all that is when I decided to shift over to larger traps and try to order the stuff online, I kept screwing up. And so now I have a ton of mouse traps. First, I thought about returning them, but I also do a lot of stuff with mouse traps. I mean, so much so that I have a tattoo right there of a mouse trap on my arm. So it's kind of a staple for me. Anyways, you know what time it is, right? All right, so today I want to talk a little sideshow history. And as it's the 100th episode of Devil's Hour, quote unquote 2 year mark, whatever you want to call it, I decided to do somebody big in sideshow who's also small. If you're confused, it's fine. I hope to alleviate some of that right now. So who I want to talk about is I want to talk about John Eckhart Jr., known simply as Johnny Eck. So Johnny and his brother Robert were actually born in 1911 in Baltimore, Maryland. And unlike his fully formed brother, there's a picture of them together, Johnny was born with a sacral agenesis, which is a congenital disorder of which basically the lower part of his spine and his truncated torso. He'd often describe himself as being snapped off of the waist, but really he just all of his everything below that lower spine down would just become really, really underdeveloped, and so he would hide in custom-made clothing. And as an adult, he measured at about 18 inches at his tallest as far as the fully developed stuff. Now, young Johnny was known to be a precocious kid and could actually walk in his hands as early as the age of 1, which is far younger than his brother could at standing. And because of doing stuff so much with his hands, he actually became something of a craftsman, doing things like being an artist. He did photography. He worked as an illusion. He worked a Punch and Judy thing, and he also made models. It's really cool, right? Now, initially, as a young kid, his mother tried to make him have a career as a minister, and he would actually give sermons at his local church, where Eck would actually later recall the fact that he would climb atop a small box and preach against the drinking of beer and damning sin and the devil. Yeah. But those plans fell kind of the wayside when Johnny was age 12, ended up being the assistant on the stage for like a local traveling thing by John Aslan, who was a local magician. He did this back in like 1923. Aslan was fascinated by this essentially half boy and persuaded him to join the sideshow with him as manager, of course. But the only way that would work, the family would only okay it is if Robert, his fully formed brother, also went with him. And so they signed a 1-year contract, which said, they basically added a zero, and so suddenly became a 10-year contract. Now, during his time with the various carnies, including McCaslin, Eck actually started becoming a noted acrobat for doing stuff, including doing his trademark one-armed handstand. Right, yeah. Now, bigger names fully beckoned. It wasn't long before Eck started performing with people like the Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus, which can't get much bigger than that. And he also did a thing over at the 1931 Canadian Expo in Montreal where he was actually spotted by an MGM talent scout who approached him about playing the role of the quote-unquote half-boy for Todd Browning's forthcoming production of Freaks. That's right. Now, Johnny famously accepted the part, and he and Browning became firm friends throughout the rest of their lives together. Where actually, Eck would a lot of times sit next to the director and actually help contribute to scenes and certain structures because perspective. Yeah, it's pretty cool. He was supposed to actually, weirdly enough, like it's not my notes, but there was Browning was planning on doing another film right after Freaks that also featured Johnny Eck, but at the time, Freaks was not brought over very well, so that kind of put the kibosh on all that. Now, around 1937, the twins, Robert and Johnny, there's another fun picture of them together, began working with illusionist and hypnotist, the Raja Raboid, with whom they would create one of the most famous routines. It's like crazy famous. So basically, the idea was like doing a twist on the person sawed in half illusion. So Robert would play the quote unquote straight volunteer, the guy from the audience, bring him up on stage, and would get sawn asunder, and which would be replaced with Johnny being the top half, and they would find a little person, a dwarf, to take the bottom half, with the former running around the stage screaming, "Come back! I want my legs back!" while the legs running around. So, and of course, initially this was like people would freak out, and then they start laughing at it because it's definitely played for comedy. And they'd pack houses like and tour the East Coast everywhere. Just it was amazing. Then around the 50s, when kind of sideshows became very un-PC, because of exploitation and whatnot, the brothers actually retired to their family home back in Baltimore, in which they basically would live the rest of their lives. The pair invested in things like a penny arcade, which they ran successfully until taxes. And then later on, this is another fun picture just of Johnny right there as an older. They actually bought and operated a children's train ride in a park, and Johnny was the conductor, which everybody loved him. He continued to paint and do all the other stuff, and so he became kind of this guy. And he often would sit out in front of his house with his little dog. He had a Chihuahua named Major. I guess probably after Major Might, I would expect. And he would sit there and just tell stories about all his days in sideshow and stuff like that. So it was really great. Now, Johnny ended up suffering a fatal heart attack in his sleep in January of 1991. And he lived to the ripe old age of 79, which is that's amazing because most people of his conditions never really lived long, usually like at best 40s or 50s. So 79, he lived to be 79. His brother, Robert, actually lived a few more years and passed away in 1995. So Johnny Eck, everybody, and that, really cool. And that's just the snippets of things he did. I'm just, because I could spend 2 hours talking about Johnny Eck, but I'm not going to, because I want to talk about other stuff too. And I want you, if you like what you hear about Johnny Eck, look up his shit. It's amazing. He's got some cool artwork. Anyways, we'll be right back.
Is your bar looking a little ordinary? Is it lacking something awesome? Well, head out to your local liquor store and pick up something extraordinary. Grab a bottle of Old Humble Straight Whiskey or Old Humble Special Reserve. They're clean, smooth, easy drinking whiskeys that taste the way whiskey should taste. From humble beginnings to an extraordinary finish, Old Humble whiskeys are what your bar needs today. Walk tall, be awesome, and drink humble. Old Humble Straight Whiskey and Old Humble Special Reserve. Get yours today.
That's right. Get yours today, or whatever whiskey you can get in your area. If you're in Texas, definitely pick up some Old Humble. All right. So let's talk about this other fun stuff. So as it's our 100th episode of doing the show, 2 years, I also want to make sure I showcase the stuff I loved back when I first started on Twitch, which is what this part of the portion is what it is. And so I mentioned earlier that one of the reasons I am in New York City is because I got the chance to see a really cool show. But I also stay with a great Kia St. Sarah here, an amazing partner, and literally the entire weekend they're just going, "Hey, you should move here, move here, move here." I'm going, "Oh, maybe I don't know." But the reason I came to town was to go see a show, because that's I I go see new places, but I like to have I go, I at least need that one small thing to go. I need to go to this, and then just plan around, loosely plan around it. And so back in I guess July of 2020, I was with the G Spot, which is my one-on-one chat show, which you can see all the episodes right here on Carney Show. I had the great opportunity to chat with the amazingly talented Todd Robbins. We had a great, lovely chat. Talked about all sorts of stuff, and then from that chat, which gave me the reason to come here, so I went and saw his show because he was producing it. He was producing this little small show about seances and stuff, which was really, really good. So I came to town, saw the show, had a great time. We ended up having dinner the next day after the show, just me and him, just chatting about stuff and everything like that. He gave me the low ball sell because you can afford it, move to New York. But basically, it's I had Keita going, "Hi, go, come," and then Todd goes, "Well, if you can do it, you should do it." And so between the two, that's what got me to come here. So I'm forever grateful for both of them about their portion of that story and stuff like that. And so what I want to showcase you is something fun that Todd did, which I showcased ages ago. So check this out. The amazing Todd Robbins.
If you don't come play with us, then we will kill you.
Welcome, I'm Todd Robbins. People have been calling each other terrible names since the beginning of civilization, and though someone may insult you this way, it really means nothing whatsoever. However, there was a time several centuries ago that if people called you a certain name, it was not only an insult, but it also could lead to your death. And that name was witch. The golden age of witch hunting was from about 1450 to 1750, and during those 300 years, it's estimated that there was probably about 30,000 to 100,000 people that were executed because someone pointed a finger at them and accused them of being a witch. Now we have an image of witches being burned at the stake, and it did happen. However, the predominating way that witches were executed was by hanging them. It was very efficient. All you needed was a rope and a branch of a tree. However, you could add a lot more spectacle to it by erecting a gallows in a town square and then hanging the witch and then allowing their corpse to dangle there in the wind for days or weeks even as a message, a warning to people of what would happen to them if they pissed off God by being different from everyone else. Now, what I find fascinating is not so much the method of execution, whether it be burning or hanging or anything like that. No, what I think is fascinating is the great lengths that people of religious or political authority, and back then it was often the same thing, the great lengths that they would go to prove that someone was a witch. There are many torturous ways of proving someone was a witch, often led directly to execution. For instance, there was this belief that a witch, because they were in league with the devil, couldn't utter a single word of a prayer or a Bible passage or some other religious writing. Of course, many witches were able to do this and do it well. And so therefore, the persecutors upped the ante. And they said, if you made any mistakes while saying a prayer or a Bible passage, a religious writing of some kind, if you missed a word or you stammered or stuttered, well, that proved that you were a witch, and then you would be burned or hung. But even if you were able to recite flawlessly, it didn't get you off the hook. There was a fellow by the name of George Burroughs who, on the gallows, recited the Lord's Prayer perfectly. And this pissed off the powers that be. So they conferred a little bit, and they came back and said what he did was a trick of the devil. And then they put him to death. There was also a strange test known as witch cakes. What they would do is they would take the urine of someone who had been cursed by a witch, and they mix the urine, the witch hunters would mix the urine with a rye flour, rye meal, and a little ash, and they would bake it into this cake. And then they would force feed it on an animal, a familiar. This was the belief that demons would take the form of a cat or a dog and then serve the biddings of a witch. So they would force feed the animal this wretched mess of a concoction, a little confection. And it was believed that the animal would fall under the spell of the witch cake, miraculously gain the ability to speak, and then name the guilty sorcerer. Of course, this didn't happen, and when it didn't happen, well, then the witch hunters would turn on the person who made the witch cake and accuse them of being a witch. There was also dunking, or ducking, as it was sometimes called. In its simplest form, your hands and feet would be bound, and you'd be thrown into a large body of water, whether it be a pond or a river or a lake, something like that, whatever was handy. And if you sunk to the bottom, which most people did, and drown, as most people did, well, that meant you weren't a witch, and even though you were dead, you would be going to heaven. However, if you floated to the top, well, good for you, but bad for you also. You see, there was some sort of belief that again, because they were in league with the devil, that there some sort of problem with baptism. The witches couldn't be baptized, water would reject them, and that's why they would float. So if you did bob to the surface, well, then they would drag you out of the water and hang you. Or they would dry you off a little bit and then burn you. There was also pressing. You would ask to be lie down on the ground. They'd ask you that, and then they put a large board, wide board on top of you, and put stones, heavy stones, on top of that board, more and more of them, making the weight greater and greater and greater until you confessed. And then when you confessed, well, it was very efficient, because they would continue putting stones on top of that board until you were crushed to death. And if you didn't confess, they would then put more and more weight on the board until you're crushed to death. Because if you're accused of being a witch, that meant you probably were one. There was also something called the pair of anguish. It sounds so poetic, doesn't it? A pair of anguish. Almost sounds benign, but it's not. No, this was a device that would be inserted in one of your orifices. And since the idea was to get you to confess, the orifice was not your mouth. They would insert it into an orifice, and then they expand it. And expand it and expand it until you couldn't take it anymore, and then you'd confess. And then if you did confess, then they'd rip it out of your orifice, and then you'd be hung or burned. And if you didn't confess, well, they just keep expanding it until that device ruptured your orifice and you'd bleed to death. Win-win. There was also pricking. They would take a needle and prick you with it. And if it hurt and bled, well, that meant you weren't a witch. However, if it didn't hurt or it didn't bleed, well, that meant you were a witch, and you'd be hung or burned, of course. And even if you did bleed or it did hurt, well, sometimes they would prick you over and over again in different spots all over your body until they found one that didn't hurt or didn't bleed as much as the others. And then you'd be burned or hung. And there's also the witch's mark. A very pious person would strip you of all of your clothes and then look your body over, your naked flesh, until they found a mark or a blemish, and that proved you're a witch. And when they found the mark, and they always found the mark, you would then be burned or hung. Now, I'm not a betting man, and yet I'm willing to wager that many of the very, very religious folks gained a great deal of pleasure from inflicting this mayhem upon people, a pleasure that had nothing to do with holiness. Now we look upon this time and all these awful things that were done, and we scratch our head and say how it was possible. And the reason we do this is because of, well, time. You see, it's been a long time since all these things happened. And time has a way of, well, causing madness to fade away and rational thought to once again come forth. And the thing about it is, though those days of, putting people to death because they're a witch are long gone, and there are people, hundreds, maybe thousands of people who proclaim that they're witches without any kind of fear that'll lead to a death sentence. Those days of persecuting witches are over. The root of all that happened back then, that hysteria, is still with us today and bearing fruit. There is a difference between what drove those witch hunts and what drives the crusades of today, but it's only on the surface. Underneath it all is hatred. These days, there's a number of different kinds of hatred in our world. Hatred that will drive people to want you dead because of, let's say, your religion or the color of your skin or the country of your origin or your religion or your sexuality or even your gender or your religion or your political beliefs. Now, we like to think that the tumultuous times in which we find ourselves, well, this too shall pass. And once again, rational thought will rule the day. But there's no guarantee of that whatsoever. No, there's a difference these days. There's a diversity in the hatred we find around us. There's a full spectrum of hate that we find in our world today. And it is very possible that it will be this hatred, not war or famine or even pestilence, that will do us in, but it will be this diverse divisiveness, the malevolent point of views of our fellow men and women that will lead to the demise of our world. It's an intriguing thought, isn't it? It's positively bewitching. Well, there you go, and there you have it. I hope you enjoyed these few moments we spent together here, and I hope you'll return. And we can do this again at another time, and I hope it's soon, because it's much later than you think. I know. I'm Todd Robbins.
Todd Robbins, everybody. Wasn't that a lot of fun? I definitely recommend you checking out his stuff when you have a chance. Cheers. Anyways, are we doing good? Doing good so far? Good. I'm glad. So, time for our next guest. So, everybody knows that the devil has all the best tunes. From Robert Johnson selling his soul at the crossroads to the blood-soaked black metal of Norway. The mythical creature that is known as Satan has loomed large over the music world. But nothing was really going to prepare you other than for the arrival of Twin Temple. Twin Temple is Los Angeles' one and only purveyor of what is called satanic doo-wop. Yeah, so yeah, basically take Amy Winehouse, but make her more evil? I don't know. It's really, really good. They actually just released a brand new single, which is called Let's Have a Satanic Orgy, because, I mean, can't we? Twin Temple, everybody.
Let's have a satanic orgy. In the forest, the dead of night, the full moon is the only light. The magic circle about to start to sway. All the pretty witches have been out to play. Come to the Sabbath, take a ride on my broom, and make it under the moon. Maybe we'll make love to you. Come to the Sabbath, go down with demons from hell. Ooh, and just like that, you're under my spell. To the Sabbath with me. Let's have a satanic, let's have a satanic, let's have a satanic orgy. Rhythm's got you drinking blood and sweat. You feel your heart pounding in your chest. Flames go high to a fever pitch. You've never made love to you, made love to a witch. Come to the Sabbath, take a ride on my broom. We're naked under the moon. Maybe I'll make love to you. Come to the Sabbath, go down on demons from hell. And just like that, you're under my spell. Come to the Sabbath, to the Sabbath, come to the Sabbath with me. Let's have a satanic, let's have a satanic, let's have a satanic orgy. Oh, that's nice. Just like that. What? What's the matter? You don't like the taste of blood? Come to the Sabbath, take a ride on my broom. We're naked under the moon. Maybe I'll make love to you. Come to the Sabbath, go down on demons from hell. And just like that, you're under my spell. Come to the Sabbath, take a ride on my broom. Naked under the moon. Maybe we'll make love to you. Come to the Sabbath, go down on demons
you're under my spell. Let's have a 666.
Twin Temple, everybody. Wasn't that amazing? So much fun. So dope. Yeah. Anyways, we did it. Hey, we did it. 100 episodes. I'm really surprised and shocked that I've been sticking around this long because it's not easy. It's easy for me just to have given up. And this is nothing. This is not a slight against a lot of other performers who during the pandemic kind of did some stuff for a minute and then kind of dropped out. I get it. It's not an easy thing to do. I enjoy doing it because I like showcasing these cool acts, whether it's music or weird variety arts, burlesque, sideshow, etc., etc. Um, I want people to know about them, whether it's the tens of people who watch this show, and I will hype it otherwise. And so that's how it works. And so that's what I love to do. That's why I keep doing it. Even when I do produce live shows, my goal in doing live shows is doing different types of acts for those shows too, because the idea is to kind of meld it around, because this is all really cool shit. You should be checking this out too. Don't be complacent with that one avenue. Like, branch out, see a lot of other cool shit. That's what I like doing. That's why I like hyping stuff. So thank you. But let's give big thanks to who we had on the show today. Who should we thank first? Well, of course, we need to thank SINE, the amazing industrial act out of Austin. Follow them on Instagram at SINEBandOfficial, and then go to Bandcamp, SINE Official, SINE Official. .bandcamp.com to pick up all their cool records. They have cool other merch too. I think occasionally she puts artwork on there and shirts, etc., etc. It's really cool shit. You need to pick it up. Who else should we thank? Well, let's thank me. I guess feel weird doing that, but you can follow me both here on at devils.hour, but also on my own Instagram, which is at Geoff _ with a G. And then go to my link tree, linktr.ee/Carney Show, which has links to all the other cool stuff I do, including things like the live shows I'm doing a part of, merch. It also has my tipping info mentioned on that, and also links to the YouTube, my Twitter, etc., etc. Yeah. And who else should we thank? Of course, let's thank Twin Temple, the basic music. Follow them on Instagram at Twin Temple, and then www.twintemple.com for all their other cool shit. I think they're touring right now with Ghost and Volbeat, which is a weird, interesting mix of those three bands, but I think it's dope. Anyways, and of course, who else should we thank? Todd Robbins, of course. Follow him on Instagram at Todd Robbins NYC. About all the stuff he has going on. He has lots of stuff going on, including things working with the McKittrick, with like Sleep No More, Speakeasy Magic, and he's on the board for the Coney Island USA, so there's a lot of fun stuff happening there as well. So keep track of all that sort of stuff. I do, so you should too. So yeah, and big thanks also to you guys to keep watching it. There are a handful of you guys I know watch every week, which I greatly appreciate. I know you guys are kind of upset that I don't do this live anymore for the interaction, but what's my time? Guess things get opened up. My time gets weirdly unavailable for stuff, and it randomly does at different days. So I can't consistently do a show every week anymore, as much as I would like to. It's okay. It's okay. This is how it works. Anyways, so thank you guys once again for tuning in. I greatly appreciate it. I'm going to say it 8,000 times. That's how it works. So everybody be safe, be cool, be groovy, and as always, keep drinking, everybody.